It's Delia. That's me. Hey Delia Boppers, what's up? I know, I'm a mess. Things are just a bit crazy right now. I'm moving to a new place and at the same time getting ready for my album debut show, which I hope to be able to live stream for my viewers this Friday night, provided I don't run into any more snags that I already have. But honestly, I may as well have seen the Delia signal hovering in the skies over my apartment this morning the moment I got out of the shower to find that the straights are apparently at it again. Now, in case you don't know what I'm talking about yet, I invite you to go check Twitter like I did, where you'll find that Heterosexual Pride Day is apparently one of today's top trending hashtags. Okay, now seriously, I really would have hoped that this far along in the game, we'd be past this whole thing, but apparently we're not. So I'm going to explain to you today why straight pride and this Heterosexual Pride Day nonsense that comes along with it is an absolute crock of overripe horseshit. See, there's a common misconception among straight cis people as to what LGBT pride means, and we need to fix that because it's actually not about just randomly being proud to be queer or trans for no other particular reason. I mean, honestly, if this were literally just about being proud to be queer or trans in the absence of any other socioeconomic or cultural context, then it would actually make very little sense for us to have pride parades and Pride Month and all the other assorted pride events and just pride in general that we actually very rightfully have with regards to our gender identities and orientations. Probably just about as little sense as it makes to take pride in being straight or cis. But here's the thing. That's not what this is about. LGBT pride isn't just about being proud of who we love or the fact that we have a gender identity. Obviously, straight people love people too, and cis people also have a gender identity. The difference is that while straight people's orientations and cis people's gender identities are considered normal and go completely unquestioned by society, for LGBT people, nothing could be further from the case. LGBT people face institutionalized violence, oppression, and discrimination simply on the basis of who we love or that our gender identity doesn't conform to what the Western gender binary says that it should be based on what's in our pants. And I'm not talking about the occasional mean word or two. In many places, it really wasn't all that long ago that one could be imprisoned, lobotomized, or even executed for their orientation or gender identity. As a matter of fact, in some nations, that's still happening to this day. And even in most supposedly modernized first world nations, including the United States, you can still be denied a job, safe housing, access to public facilities like restrooms and homeless shelters, and even access to emergency medical care, just for being LGBT. We live in a society where cishet people are still trained to ask what more do you people want at the same time that they're still denying us our basic human rights and turning a blind eye or even actively contributing to the overwhelming violence which is still going on, as evidenced by the recent massacre at Pulse in Orlando, not to even mention the 23 transgender women who were murdered in the United States last year, whose killers usually get off scot-free thanks to the trans panic defense, which literally makes saying, "I killed them because they were transgender" in court an acceptable way to get away with a hate-motivated murder. And in case I haven't made it perfectly clear, this isn't just about an occasional issue. The violence LGBT people face is institutionalized. It takes many forms, but regardless of the form it takes, we literally encounter it on a daily basis. And that's where LGBT pride comes from. The fact that we live in a society where it is by nature a defiant and revolutionary act to even be LGBT, much less live openly in spite of the overwhelming marginalization and danger that comes along with that. Our pride isn't just about being proud, it is literally an act of rebellion and defiance against an oppressive system which seeks to exterminate us just for being different. And you know, when someone's privileged and used to everything being about them, like how the majority of any characters you see in popular media are straight and cis, and how almost every movie or TV show you'll ever see has some version of the same rehashed, borderline misogynist straight love story involved, regardless of the genre of the work or whether it's even necessary at all, it can definitely feel like you're being excluded or oppressed the second you find out for the first time in your life that something's not about you. But that's not what oppression is. Society sees straight cis people as the norm. You are the default, and you will never be discriminated against for either of those things, because society will never back up and attempt to discriminate against you, and no one hates you for being cis or straight. Many of us do very much learn to hate the violence we actually face at the hands of cis and straight people on a near daily basis, but you will never find anyone who would legitimately advocate for or carry out violence or discrimination against you just for not being queer or trans. You may face discrimination discrimination or oppression or violence on another basis, like race if you're a person of color, or gender if you're a woman, or religion if you're Islamic or Jewish or pagan, or being disabled, but you will never face any negative consequences from society simply for being straight or cis. And especially considering that most people who promote bullshit like Heterosexual Pride Day are doing so with the explicit intention of mocking LGBT people and asking us what we have to be proud of, it really comes as a slap in the face to those of us who are still fighting tooth and nail just to survive. And I get that there are a bunch of straight and cis people who don't necessarily hate us but hop on this stuff just because they want to feel included, but please, just for once, let us have something without making it about you, because it's pretty much always about you every other day of the year. Let us have this one thing to ourselves. We've literally paid the price for it with our own blood for decades, even centuries, and we still have a long way to go before we will even be close to true socioeconomic and cultural equality. That calling even something as significant as marriage equality a victory is honestly laughable. Basically, instead of asking why you don't get a straight or cis Pride Day, you should really just learn to be glad that you don't need one in order to ever have any hope of reaching a day when society won't treat you like shit and possibly even kill you in response to who you love or the way you were born. And you know, I get that there are probably a lot of cishet people out there who up until this point were simply ignorant of all this, which is honestly to be expected in a society which brings up everyone to think that homophobia and transphobia are normal and correct. But you can consider yourself educated now. And I'm sorry if I'm not as polite or calm or sugarcoating this as much as I could be, but you probably wouldn't be either if you lived with the kind of bullshit that we do. And now that you've been educated, you can't use ignorance as an excuse to remain complicit anymore. And if you honestly want something to be proud of, you could start by taking active steps to put an end to the violence LGBT people face. Uplift our marginalized voices without speaking over them by sharing what we have to say about the oppression we face. Write a letter to your congressperson demanding LGBT inclusive protection. Speak up the next time a friend or coworker says something hateful, untrue, or harmful about LGBT people. You can even just reach out and tell a trans or gay person you know that they're loved. Many of us even lose our families just for being who we are, and loved is the last thing. An experience like that makes you feel like you are, and it sticks with you. You never know. Your kindness could even be the reason that one of us chooses to go on living for another day, and that would be something to be proud of. As always, thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, be yourself. Hey everyone, thanks again so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw today, be sure to hit that like button and share so that your friends can enjoy it too. And be sure to subscribe because there's more where that came from, including activism and awareness videos, tutorials, you can follow my transition, and even check out some of my music. I also want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters because y'all are what make this channel possible. Thank you. If you're not a patron yet and you want to find out how you can get awesome rewards like autographed pictures from my modeling shoots and more for your support, just go to www.patreon.com/DeliaMelody to find out how you can sign up today. And be sure to check out Designs by Delia on Redbubble for all your official Delia Melody swag needs. See you next time and be yourself.